Bullshit.
Improvement is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's the No BS Marketing Show. I'm Dave Mastovich, CEO and founder of Massolutions, the world's only no bullshit marketing agency. That quote, improvement is not about perfection, it's about progress, is from Mimi Icon, YouTube influencer, author, fashion mogul, and mom. The quote is awesome because many of us forget that improvement is about progress. I remember the phrase, perfect is the enemy of good, from way back early in my career. Had a mentor throw that out, and it was from someone famous, maybe Stephen Covey, I'm not sure. But perfect is the enemy of good is a phrase I've used throughout my career. And this one from Mimi Icon is a current take on that, where improvement is not about perfection, it's about progress. What happens to us, and I'm guilty of this myself, and I often have to say, do as I say, not as I do, with my family and with my Massolutions team and with anyone else that I'm leading and influencing and motivating, because many of the time I'm able to spend in what's called the gain rather than the gap. I'm able to spend the time focusing on progress. But I'm human, and it's part of our nature to fixate on things that are what we haven't accomplished or what wasn't as good as we would have liked. So remembering that perfect is the enemy of good, and remembering that improvement is about progress, not perfection, will help us. We need to keep these thoughts somewhere on our phone, written down somewhere, notification, regular email, whatever, to get us to remember these phrases. We need trigger points. Just as we have negative trigger points where someone we know, someone we love often can trigger us by saying or doing something or making a face or a sigh, and we trigger others. Well, let's create positive triggers. Let's find a way to have a quote like this one from Mimi Icon that talks about how it's important to remember progress, not perfection, that improvement is not about perfection, it's about progress. Find a way to have that quote come up regularly to you. Perfect is the enemy of good is another way to phrase it. Find a way to have that quote come up and trigger you to remember that, so that you don't fixate on what hasn't been done, but you fixate on the progress that you've made. Strategic coaches Dan Sullivan has a different phrase about it, and he and Benjamin Hardy wrote a book that I've posted about, and it talks about the gap and the gain. Similar way of saying this to Mimi Icons, to the perfect is the enemy of good, to the gap and the gain. The gap and the gain says how we fall back into the gap, and our mind doesn't look at how much we've progressed, but looks at the gap of where we still have to go. When we are in the gain, our mind is thinking positively about all that we've gained and still remembering where we want to get to. These are things we have to find ways to trigger ourselves in a positive way so that we can stay in the gain, so we can remember that perfect is the enemy of good and actually make decisions, so that we can follow Mimi Icon's recommendation and talk about how improvement is not about perfection. It's about progress. Keep these in mind and find ways to trigger yourself with these. However, each of us does that. I use a lot of email notifications that I have sent to myself regularly. Some people journal every day, multiple times a day. Other people are part of peer groups where they can talk and hear things and hear about shared experiences. Whatever we have to do to keep us triggered in the positive way, let's do it so we can all continually grow and achieve personal and professional growth. Thanks for listening to another episode of the No Bullshit Marketing Show, recorded in Massolutions Studios in bold, beautiful downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Remember, ask yourselves, what's the big idea? And build your story around the answer. It's all about bold solutions, no BS.